So we'd like to welcome Brian and Julie, who have come from the Baby Loss Retreat charity.
Yeah.
So I'll just let you uh, do your bit. You'll know who's speaking first, and you can say about your charity and everything like that.
Welcome to our charity Baby Loss Retreat. As I said, my name is Brian and this is my wife Julie. I'm just going to tell you a wee bit of story about why we started the charity. Basically, near enough 23 years ago, we were having our first baby. Around about this time, we were just kind of setting up everything for our nursery, make sure everything was okay. It was around about 25 weeks. There was a growth problem with the baby, but they weren't concerned about it. So what they did is they started to do weekly scans. At that point, we were just okay. There's three lines when you're pregnant and the baby's growing inside the mum. But Erin was below the middle line, but again, they were still not concerned. She was growing, but not enough. They were just maybe putting it down to a small baby. And it was at one point, I'll let Julie talk about this bit, where she was in the bath just before a scan for 38 weeks.
Yeah, so there wasn't very much movement. As Brian said, when the three lines and Erin wasn't following the line, but the consultant, because I was consultant led at that time, and basically he just kept saying, we've no concerns there, everything's fine. So again, these are professional people. I was going away saying, right, it must be fine because they're telling me it's okay. Was going for weekly scans, and then it was one weekend I didn't feel very great. There wasn't very much movement. Erin would keep me awake at night, and I literally would sleep during the day. So at night time over the weekend, it was really, really quiet. So I phoned my mum and the usual, like obviously they tell you to go for a bath, to eat ice cream, to try all that. And basically I'd done that and there wasn't movement. So I had said to Brian, look, we're due for a scan. This was the Sunday, so we're due for a scan the Monday. I said, we need to go up and explain that I don't have any movements over the weekend. So basically Monday came, we went up and basically they took us in the side room, and to this day I still remember the room that they took us into. They took us into the side room and basically it explained that there wasn't very much movement over the weekend, and obviously Monday morning there's no been movement at all. So basically she said, jump up in the bed, we'll have a wee look, basically taking the screen away from us and started scanning. It went then totally silence. All I could hear was like people talking outside in the private room. And then she said, look, I really need to go and get a consultant and come back. So at that moment, I looked at Brian. I was kind of like, they're actually going to tell us bad news. I think I knew deep down inside, you get that motherly instinct. I knew that before he even came into the hospital. And basically, when the consultant came in, he scanned and basically said, look, I'm really sorry, there's no heartbeat there. At that moment for me, it was kind of like I felt my body absolutely sinking into a bed, just like what is happening. Like it was like muffles, people talking to me that I just wasn't registering what was happening. I'm looking at Brian and his face just totally dropped. Like he went chalk white and he was kind of like, I don't know what's just happened here. So basically, they let us gather our thoughts and stuff like that, and then they moved us into a side room. And I remember walking in, and it was like two chairs and a table, and basically a phone. And what she said is, look, stay here, phone your parents, phone everybody and tell them what's happened. And at that moment, I was kind of like really, really angry because I'm thinking, you're telling me to phone my family and I don't even know what's happened here and what's happening in my baby. I'm not interested about telling family what's happened. But once I started to calm down, we phoned our parents and basically like I just remember my mum screaming down the phone because my mum had already had a loss beforehand. So I just remember her screaming, and then it was kind of like the midwife came in and she said, look, we're going to have to give you a tablet and you have to go home for 3 days. At that moment we were kind of like, what do you mean we have to go home? We've got a house full of baby stuff. How can we go home there? And she was like, well, do you have anywhere else to stay? And we're like, no, we have to go home. So at that moment we left, went in the lift, the same lift that parents were bringing their newborn babies in. And at that moment, somebody came in with a newborn baby, went it? And it was just in that moment, it was like we were hiding ourselves to the lift door, the side of the wall, because we didn't want to show them that we were grieving our baby, but they were happy at the same time. And that lives with me for the rest of my life. It was just like, how can this happen? Like, how can you go at the same door as somebody coming with a newborn baby? So at that moment, we went home. Couldn't remember travelling home. It was just totally blank. I think we went to bed and slept for the 3 days. I hardly ate. My mum came up to see if we were okay, but we didn't really want to talk to anybody. We wanted to be left on our own just so that we could like take everything in that was happening to us. And then we went back 3 days later and we were put in a ward with parents that were delivering live babies. So basically I had to deliver Erin stillborn, but you had a live baby crying next to you. Again, it was just torture. As soon as Erin was born, I got to hold her. Well, we got to hold her for about half an hour to an hour. Because her skin was deteriorating and we didn't have cuddle cots back then. So we were advised, look, the more you hold her, the more deterioration it's going to be. And obviously that's not nice to see. So again, we spent that hour and basically we fell asleep and woke up the next morning. And do you know what way? I thought I was actually dreaming it. I thought, oh, they're going to bring my baby in and I'll get cuddles and cuddler and stuff like that. And that just didn't happen. It was kind of like when we woke up, we made the decision to leave there in the end, didn't we? And basically they come in and talked about funerals. How would you like to, like, do you want Erin cremated or do you want her buried? And at that point I had never experienced organising a funeral. At that time I was only 22. So I was kind of like, just deal with it. I don't want to deal with it. You just tell me when the cremation is going to be and that's it. So 2 weeks later we went away and they phoned us and told us that when Erin's cremation was going to take place, we went to the funeral directors and took like music and stuff like that down, and basically we had a service. It was really lovely. We had family and friends there just being there for support, but it was just nice to have that support network there for us. So again, after that, we tried to go on with life as much as possible. Bryan went straight back to work because he was dealing it in a different way to what I was. I basically couldn't go back to work because I worked support worker, working for the vulnerable. So I didn't want to go in and put myself in that position when I didn't feel okay myself. And then it just came to a blow and I said to Bryan, look, I'm not coping very well. And Bryan suggested we went away. So that's what we done. We went away and we booked a holiday and basically went away. And do you know what? It was actually nice because nobody knew us. We could laugh, we could cry, we could make decisions. What are we going to be doing next? Are we going to have more children? So that gave us time to reflect on what actually happened to us, to then what's the next stage for us? Is it we take counselling? Do we have another child? So in that moment before we left our last day holiday, we decided to try for another child. We didn't know what that was going to look like for us. We just decided to go for it and see what happened. And then I fell pregnant straight away, and it was another wee girl. And for that moment, I thought it was going to be exciting, which it wasn't. It was a trauma because I had already lost a girl to then being pregnant with another girl. So the trauma came back into that situation with us. Gladly, Demi was born and everything was fine. I went through consultant led and basically they looked after us very, very well. And then from that moment, we had other kids after that. But then we were part of the Ashes scandal in Scotland. And if you don't know what that is, it was crematoriums. Basically, they were getting investigated because they were scattering babies' ashes without the parents' permission. They weren't giving ashes back to parents. They were basically saying that the baby was too small, that they wouldn't be able to get ashes. So that went on for 5.5 years. They put us through a lot of trauma. We had to attend psychologists to say that this affected us, what happened. Glasgow City Council were just really horrible, to be honest with you. They put us through hell to prove that what had happened with these ashes had affected us in future, and obviously having other kids. So they found Erin's ashes sitting in the funeral directors after 13 years without us knowing. Basically, she was just sitting in a box. No empathy there, no communication. We had the same number all the time that I've had for about 23 years. So nothing had changed. We were still in the same address. And basically there wasn't a protocol, there wasn't rules and regulations in there for funeral directors to be checking where these ashes are going, and who they belong to. So we managed to get Erin's ashes back, but again, that was a trauma in itself because then we were grieving all over again. So we sat down one weekend and said, look, what can we do? We need to make this something positive rather than a negative. So we set up Baby Loss Retreat and set it up as a charity, offering aftercare support. So basically retreats, families time away to the retreats as well. I don't know if you want to handle that.
So basically in 2018, February 2018, we got charity status. And yeah, we started for our living room because we had no money. We had £50 in the charity account. So we just had a computer, us in the living room. Some of the parents were coming to our house, but we kind of stopped that because we just didn't want people to know where we lived. And we just didn't want to, it's bringing that trauma of somebody else's into your house as well. We tried the coffee shops and cafes, but again, there was no privacy there because other people were sitting next to you, not saying that they were listening to your conversations. So yeah, but after a while, we set up the charity. On here is basically our constitution, and this is probably what the first line is in the constitution is. We aim to relieve the emotional and psychological suffering to parents who have lost a baby at any stage. Now, we were probably one of the first charities in 2018 to say that at any stage. When we made the charity name, we were calling it Baby Loss Retreat. We were getting a lot of raised eyebrows saying that you can't mention that, you can't say baby loss because it was a taboo subject. But we stuck to our guns and we says, no, we want to call it baby loss because it shouldn't be hidden. Nothing should be hidden about baby loss. So that's our constitution. I'm going to let Julie talk about the counselling sessions because she deals with that more than I do.
Yeah, so obviously before COVID hit, we all just done the retreats and then basically we were hit with COVID. And it was kind of like we could use the retreats, but there were certain like criteria we had to cover. So a lot of families, what we do is feedback with families. So a lot of families were saying, look, we're coming out of hospital without my husband because obviously the husbands weren't allowed in when the women were getting scanned. So they were getting told their baby had passed away. And then they had to go back out and tell their husband that the baby had passed away. So again, there wasn't any counselling system running up and then because they weren't offering it. The NHS, it had just stopped. So what I done was listen to the parents, and they were kind of like, we need counselling, we need somebody that we are able to talk to because obviously we don't have family come to our house. We can talk to them over the phone, but we need somebody who's not got that connection. So I had just finished university doing a counselling training. And basically, I knew a couple of counsellors. So what we've done is set up a counselling system online. So I had about 16 counsellors who were counselling parents as soon as they were leaving the hospital, just to give them that bereavement support rather than counselling at the beginning. So like their 1 to 3 sessions would just be the bereavement support, and then they would carry on doing the counselling sessions after that. And we also obviously offer trauma therapy. How it works just now, because we've carried that on, is when the parents make a referral, it comes to myself. I then phone them within that day of the referral coming in. I book in an appointment, so that could be within that week. They then come in, we have a chat, what's been happening for them, what's been going on in the loss, what have they had support-wise beforehand, because if they've had counselling, there's no point in me putting them more into counselling because then they're learning the techniques that the counsellor's using anyway. So it could be that they just need that time away. So that's when we make the decision, what is your needs at that time? And once they tell me if it's counselling or the retreat, then I would book that in for them, and basically they would start their sessions or they would go time away. We also do listening music therapy. That's been put on hold just now because of lack of funding. So what listening music therapy is a lot of kids feel that they can't sit in front of a counsellor just counselling and talking. So what they do is they use music and what that music feels for them and how they cope with when they're feeling like very low, what music do they listen to and how does that help them. So that goes more into details, and they can involve the actual parents as well. And it's really nice because the feedback we've had by having the parents and the child doing it together is the child didn't realise the kind of music they listened to when they were older. when they were younger, sorry. So they're learning new from the mum and daddy what kind of music they like, but also learning what kind of music's out there now for the sibling as well. So yeah, so that's how that works with referrals.
And that picture is actually our office just now. So yeah, we have got 2 rooms. We've got an admin room, and that's rooms, Julie's room, and where the counsellors bring the parents into. Cost-wise, what that costs for 6 sessions, the charity, the parents don't get charged for this. What it costs the charity is it's £300 for 6 counselling sessions to get done, or trauma therapy. What happens after that is when they've had their counselling, they can get 6 sessions, but they can get 12. But as Julie says, with funding, it's very, very difficult for us to try and find another £300. We're constantly trying to find funding. We've got National Lottery, we've got Robertson's Trust, we've got something from the Scottish Government, but it's not enough. But we always need more. So, but once they've done the counselling sessions, they get sent away to a retreat. Now, we don't own these retreats. The one in the picture here is one in Castle Douglas. It's just outside Castle Douglas. It's got a lock. It's got rooms that look onto the lock. It's got a cafe. It's got a restaurant in there. And that bench was a parent who raised £5,000 in a fundraiser, but she wanted to put something on a retreat. We were talking about a tree, but then we came around the idea of maybe a bench and put all the babies' names on it. So the big heart in the middle is Ali and Billy. That was the babies' names. It was twins. And basically, a lot of the other parents put their babies' names on there, and they go down and they'll put flowers. We just had a parent down there who it was her daughter's 2nd birthday, so she was down there. We have got one in Glenrothes. It's an adult only one. It's only a 1-bedroom. It's got a beautiful view, and it's stunning. So they are the 2 kind of retreats that we use just now. We can go on about our future project about retreats, and as it says there, it's just for them to get away from the pressures in isolated areas and reflect on the loss and talk together and understand each other's grief. Julie says when me and Julie went on holiday, I think we spoke more on the holiday than we did when we were in the house.
It's because you have like pressure of work and you've got pressure of family life, especially if you've got other kids as well. So you're more concentrating on them than actually dealing with the grief that you're going through.
Yeah, and they also got an £80 voucher as well for food. Because again, sometimes parents, they're maybe getting statutory sick leave. They're not getting a lot of money, so we give them £80, so it's £40 a day to spend on food. They do exercises down there. We give them exercises to do, we give them questions to do. And again, it's to get them talking. And the feedback we get is, oh my God, that's the first time you've opened up. And one of the questions can be, if you hear of a friend that's just announced that they're going to be pregnant, how are you going to respond to that? The guy's answer will definitely be different from the women's answer. So as long as they understand when that happens, then they know, rather than arguing about it or going in a huff or stuff like that. So yeah, so they deal with it differently. We talk about that.
Yeah, so every parent that goes on the retreat gets a comfort bag, and in the comfort bag it has like little teddy bears. It's got key rings. It's got a journal as well, because it's really important that they're actually putting their feelings and their grief and that into a journal, and basically looking back in that in years to come. And families do, the ones that were helped from the beginning, have kept their journals and basically look back on that, which is really, really nice to see how far they've come. So as you can see, Scottish Business Women in Business sponsored the bags. So basically they paid for the stuff to go in it and the bags, and so did Marriott. So Marriott, we were the sponsors for 2 years with the Marriott Glasgow as well. So if you know any businesses who would like to be sponsors for the bags, I think they cost about $250 to $300 to get the print and stuff in them. So if you know any businesses who would like to get that and obviously have that promotion side of it as well, you can have your names on the next batch.
Just a couple of stats on here as well. Miscarriage is the most common complication of pregnancy, and it's 1 in 4 families experienced at least one miscarriage during their reproductive lifetime. And you think of that in a business environment, there could be 1,000 people in there, and it's 1 in 4. I think a lot of businesses as well don't realise that the impact that can have, and some people do hide it from their businesses when it's an early miscarriage.
In the UK, 1 in every 250 pregnancies end in stillborn. When a baby dies after 24 gestation, this is equality to around 2,950 babies dying each year. Over stillborn rates is currently 24th out of 49 high income countries. 8 babies are stillborn every day in the UK. Now that's so high. It's up there with obviously near cancer as well. But it's just something that's not talked about. But I have seen the difference for when I started the charity a year ago. The difference is stuff like other charities putting baby loss on the end of their names now, which is really good, and getting families to talk about it more as well.
And again, we do get funding, but we always need the fundraising side of things as well. And we're always looking for corporate support, or looking for businesses to maybe just do a wee fundraiser. The kilt walk, we've actually got about over 64 people doing a kilt walk for us this year, which is the highest amount we've got. But we still need more. We still need businesses maybe just to do a coffee morning. There's stuff there that the YPI, which is great. We've won it twice this year already. So yeah, we always look for corporate support, and if anybody wants to contact us, they can go through the website and fill in the referral form, and we can speak to them then. We are Charity of the Year this year for Play Sport Golf in East Kilbride. We have been Charity of the Year for there for the last 2 years, and we've just been announced that we're Charity of the Year again. Dallas McMillan have been dead supportive of us as last year, and they just announced that us and
Simon Community, that's
so we're really excited about that, and they've just announced that they're going to have 6 people doing the kilt walk, and they want to speak to us about other fundraisers during the year. So again, we would like to have some more businesses as Charity of the Year for this year. This is just a couple of pictures, what we do to fundraise. The top left is basically us at Central Station, Glasgow Central Station, with an awareness table, and that's us with some volunteers, with a donation bucket and some stuff we can sell. Bottom left is basically a family who went up it wouldn't be me, it's up a hill and it looks very, very snowy there, but they went up there and raised thousands of pounds as well. Bottom middle is, I don't know if you've heard of a company called Axe a Dove. Basically, they release doves, so we work in conjunction with them, because again, it's nice if it has a baby's funeral that you have maybe a dove release. We also do stuff for the siblings as well, and that was a day we took them out. I think it was Spar that gave us money to take them out for the day. So we had about £500. We took them all bowling, gave them food, and they absolutely loved it, and the parents loved it as well. So that was really, really good.
Everybody was competitive.
Top left, in 2020, unfortunately, when it was during COVID, Julie won the National Lottery Award for Britain. And behind her is Junior Hansen. She kept her social distance there, which was very annoying. But in the top right is obviously a retreat. Bottom middle is our office. Bottom left is when we get invited to the Burns Supper 2 years ago. It was Boris Johnson, and we got into number 10 Downing Street. And that's every time that door opens, when we see it in news, we say we've been there. So not a lot of people can say that. Bottom right is basically, it's St Augustine's Church in Coatbridge, and we can talk about that in a wee minute. It's called the Wave of Light, which we do every year. Couple of events we've got this year. Do you really want to talk about the Super Trooper?
Yeah, Super Trooper with ABBA. So that's opened. It's a lunch. We will be having it with, who's our act again? Sorry. ABBA Dream. That will be doing it. Again, it was just a good laugh, a good day. And to raise loads of funds for Baby Loss Retreat. There will be raffles on the day. There will be stalls with businesses round. They've already contacted me asking if they can have stalls round the room. And yeah, it'd be a fantastic day. We had an afternoon tea 2 years ago, and that just went really, really well. So this is different. I've opened this up because if you call it a ladies' lunch, it's then meaning that men can't come along. So again, we've added it as Super Trooper tea with ABBA, because then that opens up to everybody's welcome to come along. Also on the other side, we have the Baby Loss Retreat Wave of Light. This happens every year on the 15th of October. So we have been doing this for about 6 years now. It started with about 20 people coming, and we now got over 250 attending. So what that is they join us, their baby is put on our roll call in the chapel, and basically they can light a candle. They come down the front, light a candle, and then we do a minute silence at 7 o'clock. And then we do a couple of speeches, and a couple of parents will come up and do poems. And then basically we go over the hall and we have drinks and food. And that gives the families to communicate with each other. And if they want to have a chat, then they can. And we basically raise funds that night as well.
I'm just conscious of time. We've just got a couple of more slides to do.
Yeah.
This is, Julie can mention, this is just getting released hopefully by next week.
So this is going through the Apple Store just now. So what it is I collated every single feedback form from the parents that we collate. And basically it was the same thing that was coming through, that how to plan a funeral is quite confusing, what we're entitled to for the funeral, what they have to pay for. So again, that's got all the information's in there. It's also got stuff about grieving. It's also got an app that you can go in, a forum that you can go in and talk to other parents with. It's got a memorial book in it, so the parents can leave memorial information regarding their baby. There is meditation, mindful sessions. There's also other charities with memory boxes. If you don't have a memory box, then you can apply for a memory box. There's also now the law changed regarding birth certificates under 24 weeks. So you now can go on the government website and you can fill that form in. So again, this app's going to be open, that they're not getting the wrong information. It's given correctly as soon as they leave the hospital and they have that information. Because again, we could give them as much leaflets as we can, but again, some of them go in the bin or they lost them, and it's then where do I go next? Whereas if you're downloading an app, you don't need to go into it straight away. You've got the app, you can go back to it any time. So that's in the process just now. I've just got the contract with Glasgow Taxis, so basically they're putting in 600 taxis, the QR codes, which then will save a lot of parents' lives. Again, a lot of people may be getting a taxi to go and take themselves to commit suicide. So if they see your app, then that hopefully will stop them in their moment and rethink about what their next steps are.
In 2024, the committee decided that we want to build our own retreat so that we can manage the time the parents are away. These are family-run businesses we've got, so June, July, August time is very, very hard for us to book for it. So we want to build our own retreat. So that, again, that will give parents time away, maybe when their birthdays, due dates, even on Mother's Day, if they're really struggling, Father's Day, Christmas time, Easter time. So again, we can manage that for the full year. We hope to have that completed by 2028, sorry. We've got a business plan in place. We've got a cost, how much is going to cost. We're still trying to find land, but we are still determined that this is needed. A retreat is definitely purpose-built retreat for us. It's needed,
and it'll be the first in Scotland if it does process for baby loss families.
Yeah. Now, this is a computerized design of the retreat, and hopefully we'll get enough time. It's about 4 minutes long. It's going to be called Erin's Retreat, obviously after Erin. And this is the future of technology, that you can actually see your retreat before you've actually built it.
the doors to let me in. Shattered windows and the sound of drums. People couldn't believe what I'd become. Revolutionaries wait for my head on a silver plate, just a puppet on a lonely string. Oh, who would ever want to be king? I hear Jerusalem bells ringing, Roman cavalry choirs are singing. Mirror, mirror, my sword and shield, my missionaries in a foreign field. For some reason I can't explain, I know St. Peter won't call my name, never an honest word, but that was when I ruled the world. Hear Jerusalem bells ringing, Roman cavalry choirs are singing. Mirror, mirror, my sword and shield, my missionaries in a foreign field. For some reason I can't explain, I know St. Peter won't call my name, never an honest word, but that was when I ruled the world.
So how much you look from the point of view of the actual retreat itself? I mean, what is the target figure for this?
Well, with the business plan, we've already got a business plan in place, and they reckon about 750,000, and that's from buying land to building. Now, obviously, if there's a building of interest and it maybe will cost less, it'll just be a refurbishment. We're open to that. I mean, that's just a design that we've got. But
Yeah,
if there's a church, an old Church of Scotland, or an old building that's maybe vacant, then we would look at that. But
Yeah.
750 is the ballpark
Right.
figure we
Yeah.
would.
So you're not looking for somewhere for a retreat that's at the seaside or by the water or anything like that?
Yeah,
You won't have it anywhere at all?
if it needs to be refurb, yeah, we're willing to take that. Even building a new retreat next to a loch would be nice.
Mhm.
But again, buying the land for that is really, really expensive. It's about
Yeah,
100 grand.
Yeah.
'Cause we did look at one at, can you remember that
Yeah,
place
it
was
was
called?
up
It's,
Arica.
Arica.
But
Right.
So that was 100 grand. So that was our aim, to get the 100 grand up, because we know that if we really want something in that area, like near a loch, we would need to pay the money for that.
Uh-huh.
We'll just
Yeah.
keep looking to get the right place. So again, as we say, we're no hurry. If it takes us a wee bit longer, then it is, but we need to make sure we get this correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we've done all that. We've done the feedbacks, how the retreat helps families and stuff like that. So we've done all that, and it's in the business plan. So it's just getting the right person, an entrepreneur or somebody who's maybe willing to put money into it to
Yeah.
see it going. So again, it's never been done in the UK. We don't have one here for baby loss families, so that's a unique thing to have your name near that as well.
Mm.
To see
Can I ask you, do you think from when you lost Erin to now, it's different for people? Do you think people are still being put into rooms where other
They are
people
still put in rooms.
Yeah, so there's
it
not
is,
really,
no.
hasn't really moved forward at all in that way.
There is Simba rooms, but again, if somebody's in that, you're unable to use that. So again, that family has to be put in a ward with parents that are delivering live babies. So it is happening to this day. But again, there's certain, that's what I mean, we've been growing like this for 40 odd years, maybe longer, because my mum lost her little girl, Charlene, and that was, God, my mum was 65, so that was years to go. So again, we need something. We're not going to stop baby loss. That's the thing. We need to put reality right. We're not going to stop baby loss. What we need to do is improve the system going forward proving
Yes.
the aftercare support, that we're able to give that support straight away. Again, NHS waiting lists are 6 months to maybe longer than that, 12 months. I can get somebody in 2 days. Now there's a difference there.
And do you get referrals then from the NHS?
Yeah.
And are the people in the NHS giving your name to people or not?
Yeah,
No?
they're giving our name, so they'll put a referral over to me, and then basically I'll take that referral. But we do not get any funding from them. So even though they're giving us the referrals, they won't give us funding because we're not based in the hospital.
No.
If our charity was based in the hospital, it would be a total different story. We would get all the funding under the sun. But the thing is, we don't want to be in the NHS because then you're controlled and ruled what you can do with your charity, which I'm not willing to do that because it's been built up with experienced parents.
Yeah.
I don't think that should be changed. The feedback we get is a lot of families resonate with us because we've lived that experience. So again, that's what they need in that moment.
Do the NHS give your information to them though? Have you got leaflets in the NHS and it's passed on to people who then will come to you?
The problem is the NHS can't show a preference. They have to give the choice of different charities, but in a kind of way they'll say that we are probably the best one to go to. But the problem with that, as Julie said, is it's £300 for 6 council sessions. In 1 week they gave us 10 referrals, so that's £3,000. We couldn't sustain that. We're only a small charity. They can't. £3,000 a week would just absolutely. We would be done.
But it just shows you though, if they can give you 10 referrals, how much it's really needed.
It is needed. That's
the thing.
It's needed. The service is needed, and because we provide an excellent service, everybody's using it. So now we have to find the funds to bring these people in because they know our service works. So again, it frustrates me because I'm like, my service works, but we don't get the money for it. So do you know what I mean? I'm taking the pressure off the NHS by taking their referrals that they can't cope with. Again, money should be given to us by the government. Give us money, but it's not enough. It doesn't cover us for the full year.
No.
Because we've got overheads that pay.
Do you try other places for grants and things like that too?
Yeah, we've tried loads. Brian does the grant applications throughout the year, so he'll do about 50 grant applications, but out there 50 you could get 2.
It's been an overwhelming application. We've been unsuccessful, so
so that's what we get like as well. So we've got to watch more of the time Erin was born, because she was born the 9th of July. So at that time we can't take on presentations because we can't be standing up there.
No, can't deal with that. No,
we need to be able to celebrate her the way we want to celebrate it, by doing presentations, because it's not about selling her at that moment. It's about celebrating her life that should have been here. And that's the thing that we always teach your parents about, celebrating their lives now, even though they're not here, but doing it in a different way. So that's why they go to the retreat and they do it a different way for the
No, right. If nobody else got any questions or comments, I'll pass over to Bill, who's going to do the vote of thanks.
Thank you very much. Well, it was last year. I was a firm of accountants at Barclays Bank in the Eagle Labs, the new one, head office, and having a roll and a cup of coffee in the morning. And this couple was standing on their own, so that's not the right way. So I went and spoke to them. I didn't know what they were doing, and I said to them, I think I can help you. And that's how it all started. I met them both in their offices in Glasgow, and I said, right, well, let's get you onto the club. We're a small club. We haven't got and I'm a fairly new club as well, so we haven't got the money. But I said, but what we can do is to promote you. And that's so important. And Brian showed me an actual Celtic jersey. Was it Peter? Was it Schmeichel signed by
Henrik Larsson?
I couldn't remember who it was. And I suddenly realised I've got an actual Davy Cooper program here for an actual celebration of him alive. Signed by a number. I thought, it's the only thing I've got. I thought this must be something that was meant. Anyway. Cut a long story short, it went to the raffle, and they got a few £100 for it. So and it was nice. So it's important. That's why I said to you, if you could send me, because when we put this out, we want people who've gone to our website, and even if you want to use it yourself,
Yeah.
you can use this recording for yourself, and it helps you. Please feel free to do that. So, on behalf of those who are here tonight, thank you very much for an excellent presentation, and what you've done. Well, my hat's off to you. I'm sure the rest of us agree with that as well. We wish you every success.
Thank you.
With it, and keep in touch.
Yeah.
So can I ask you, for you all just to thank Brian and Julie in the normal way. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.